2K? Huh. I had no idea that they made the game.
Well, I sure am grateful. Thank you so much.
So, 2K, so the people who made Borderlands made this game as well.
Human advancement knows no boundary. But this has not been without its price. Though we stand at the height of prosperity, we need only look to the past to remember that nature is a power that cannot be ignored. Consuming even the mightiest empires.
Huh, that's Pompeii.
And causing the greatest among us to tremble in her fury. Yet from adversity, the human spirit endures, finding ways to coexist with the earth. Or bend it to our cause. Pursuing a course beyond distant horizons. And revealing paths. Both towards innovation and unintended catastrophe. Our survival necessitates new solutions to old problems. To ensure a future, both for ourselves and generations to come. United in purpose, we must now look beyond borders and welcome the dawn of the next era in human civilization.
Alright, you just downloaded the base game, so I think you might still be downloading DLC as well.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Yeah, just agree to all. Nobody reads that crap.
I need to send this to my lawyer. Hold on.
Does everything look blurry to you, or...?
No, it looks clear to me.
Yeah? Because I know your system, so you double check your game options. Just check your graphic settings. Go to game options, which is the third from the top. And click on graphics. That's what we got. Oh, music's too much for you.
Now, what do you want me to go to?
Graphics. Yeah. 16 full screen. Anti-aliasing. You could probably put that up a little bit to give it a clearer edging.
Disable this? Or...
No, it's already disabled. Just put up to probably ×2 or ×4 if it's available. Yeah, ×4. You'd be fine. Yeah, that should be good. Show advanced graphics at the bottom. Jeez, I didn't even see that. Focusing. Yeah, you're good. You're good to go.
Okay,
Just
buddy.
go. Right, you confirmed it. Now on the very top, click on back and you're good.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest. From this early cradle of civilization on toward...
While you do that, I'm gonna have a quick peek at my game.
Okay.
If it is overly complicated, my apologies.
Oh yeah, it's all right. I'm learning.
Greetings, my liege. As your personal advisor, I am qualified to assist you in all matters related to ruling our civilization. I am at your service.
This river has floodplains, which means it has flooded before, and might burst its banks again. A flood along this river could happen at any point in the future. This presents us with risks, but potentially benefits too.
Civilization.
Yeah, I think you can use your middle mouse to scroll in as well. I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah, you can, yeah.
You're not, at least you're not squinting at the screen going, what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
am I looking at? All right. Oh shit! I see. I didn't even see the people there. So I think if you highlight and drag a box over them, so you select them, and you could send them to farm materials, or gather materials, or something like that. You know how you select icons on your screen, you drag a box around it. It's the same thing with the people there, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh shit, they all moved. These cats all moved in a group. I don't know if I wanted them to move over there, but they did. What's over here? Wine?
Yeah, I think you have to get them to select a resource to farm or gather. M2 Bacon, Mr. PUBG.
Hey, buddy, how are ya? Good to see you. Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I'm playing a new game here, just messing around with my buddy Shokashi. Cheers. I see you've been tearing it up at the poker table. I'm happy for you, man. You're really winning some money, man. All I see is stacks and stacks of checks. High as can be. I just got back from Vegas. I played a little poker too. Me and Silk. We had a good time. Yeah, I was crushing the $5-10 table at the Venetian while I was there. The Venetian's a beautiful hotel, man. I'm glad you got to play cards. I like their card room too. Okay, you left click, and then right click. Left click and right click. Code of laws. This game reminds me of Cat Quest 2 for some reason. Yeah, I got no clue what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out.
So, if I'm correct, I think when you select your group of people, and then you select on the icon of the area, such as that filled with the grapes, you think you have to click on the grapes directly after you clicked on your people to select where you want them to harvest.
If I left click here.
Yeah, and if you click on the icon of the area you want them to harvest, I think they go there. Again, I can't be too sure,
That's
but I think you have to. I think you have to click the icon. Or the little picture on the area, or something like that. You know what? This is probably going to do my head in as well. 6 tutorial. Holy crap, there's someone actually made a full-on tutorial for completely new players.
Alright, that's what I'll need to watch. Let's go to the Chalutu tree. No kidding, okay. Chatula tree, what the fuck?
He's got episodes after episodes of tutorials.
I think I need to watch me a tutorial of how to play this game. That's what I'm gonna do.
So here's the start of the tutorial, and you could jump in 6 minutes in where he's just
Oh, we cut and pasted to general.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, sir.
if you jump in 6 minutes in, that's the start of the generalized map. So he should be able to tell you what controls are which at that point.
Thank
there.
you, sir.
I'm gonna go through it as well, just in case.
I'll jump in 6 minutes here in a second. Skip this.
So that's going to inform me and tell me that I want to push towards a militaristic game. And with that framework sort of in my head, now I have to start asking questions. You know, within the bounds of what I encounter, how do I play on standard settings? Really, honestly, if you're a new player and you're trying to figure out how to enjoy Civilization 6 and how to have fun and how to get better, the only setting you should change is the map setting and the civ that you're playing. Leave everything else completely vanilla, completely standard. Don't change any of these settings
I
because
am vanilla. I'm a vanilla.
the reason for
motherfucker.
this is these default settings are what you're going to play when you click play now, right? When you or if you click create game and you stay in standard setup, these are the settings you're going to play. So like think within these bounds, okay? Like you can play with a disaster intensity and stuff like that. And the Civilization 6 developers know this. Right?
Oh,
So the
okay.
game is
Giant
most
octopus.
balanced and designed around
Cthulhu
players
is the
who play like
giant
this.
octopus.
And that's really, really
monster
important.
in
And
the
that's why you
ocean.
see often
Okay.
in my
Oh,
games,
son of a
I
bitch.
usually
I don't
only
wanna
go up to standard
no giant
or small.
octopus.
I don't make bigger games. I typically because
Cthulhu,
the
I
game
mean,
is
I think it's
I hope you
is
have a
designed
happy
around
new
playing
year.
this way, and you might not agree with that. You can play with
Shokashi
mods and
treated
all that
me to
sort of
this
stuff,
game, man.
but
That
there's
was
a
nice of him.
reason.
Thank you,
friends
sir.
do what
The
friends
reason
do.
you should play about this is because
I really
the game is built to
appreciate
be
it.
played this way, right? That now, don't get me wrong, they do test, they test marathon
All right,
game
we're
speed,
gonna
they
have to
test
skip
epic game
through
speed to make
this
sure it all works.
stuff.
But the majority of design
Yeah,
and
so show me the
focus and
buttons.
energy is going to be around these sort of stats. When I was getting into Civ 5 back in the day and Civ 4, is I used to pick these wacky settings and play really crazy maps, and I would play weird civs, and I would just kind of amble about. And I wouldn't go anywhere, and I wouldn't have a good time. I would have a good time for the early game because the early game in Civilization is the most. Next thing to do is, honestly, just pick a random civ. So I've rolled Scythia here, and this is going to be like.
I think the
offering
guys
a
giving
puzzle to me.
tutorials going way too quick.
Is, within the bounds
Oh,
of
is
what
it?
I encounter, how do I like set a goal and how do I achieve a goal in a game of Civilization 6? So we could talk about Scythia, right? Scythia's bonuses and the Civilization's
move?
bonuses
That's
are
what
going
I
to be like the
wanna know.
primary factor
Yeah.
in like informing what your sort of strategic top layer game plan is. So you can see here, I have the Killer of Cyrus. So my units get +5 combat strength when they're attacking wounded units, and when they eliminate a unit, they heal up to 30 hit points. I also have the People of the Steppe, which means I get a second like
There we go. My apologies. This tutorial, he's actually explaining what to do. Fucking hell. So, Mark, when you jump in this, jump in at 11 minutes, 10 seconds or something like that, yeah?
Oh, okay.
So, my apologies. The one I sent you was an absolute bullshit guy who's just skipping way ahead.
That's all right. All right, I'll jump in this one and 11 minutes in. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So he's literally zoomed in and goes, I explain to you what's happening on your screen.
Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to a guide to Civilization 6 for complete beginners. The idea about this series, it'll be probably a short series of videos, is and a unique building over here that only as America can you build it. Okay, continent. I was talking about the continent mechanic. So if we are fighting on the same continent as our capital, we will get a bonus to combat strength, which is pretty substantial. And then there's something here with appeal and national parks. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
You said
can
jump
see he's got
11
a
minutes
unique
in,
air
right?
unit, a unique
Yeah.
land unit, and a unique
the
building over
user
here that only
interface.
as America can you build it. Okay, so we have just loaded into the game over here, and this is our first screen. If you have done the tutorial, you've been taught about the controls, but just to review, you can click and drag the mouse, or the map around, you can zoom in and out, very common ways to work things. We're going to talk about the user interface around us in just a moment, but let's focus on what's going on in the middle of the screen. We have 2 units to start off with. And as far as I know, I'm pretty sure all of the different leaders start with 2 units like this. We have a settler unit with the flag here, and we also have a warrior unit here. The warrior is your starting military type unit. It is a melee unit, so it does battle by basically trying to walk onto another unit. Both units fight each other, and then one will take more damage than the other, and if one unit runs out of hit points, it will die. We'll talk about the combat mechanics more in a little bit. Your settler unit is responsible for creating your cities. You start with one, and in order to expand your empire, unless you're going to war and just stealing cities, you will be building more settlers later on so that you can found more cities. The map over here, your map view can be tuned a little bit. If it doesn't look exactly like it does for me, there is a button right over here above the mini-map called Map Options. If you click on that, you can see you can turn off the grid, for example. You can toggle the resource icons. You can show yield icons as well over here. I think that this default setup is perfectly great. I think it's good, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that there. We can see a few things about the map over here. You can mouse over a tile and find out more information about it. So these are grassland tiles. They are flat. They are not hills. They are grassland which produce a decent amount of food. You can see here it produces 2 food. We don't necessarily know the implication of that yet, but you know, all right, we're getting some information. Over here we've got some lumpy terrains. These are grassland hills. So a grassland hill does count as a grassland, but because it's hilly, it actually has an extra point of production. If we work this tile, we will get 2 food and 1 production. Well, that sounds pretty good. We don't know what that is, but it's more, so it's probably better. Here we have a resource on this tile. There are effectively 3 different types or categories of resources. There are strategic resources, and horses count as that. And you can actually, if you mouse over the actual horse graphic here, it'll tell you that horses are a strategic resource. You require animal husbandry, which is a technology, before you can actually make full use of these horses. Basically, you need the animal husbandry tech to be able to build a pasture so that you get a bigger bonus. But even without that, this tile would produce 3 food and 1 production. A grassland with horses gives you an extra food and an extra production. Ooh, that's quite nice. Strategic resources, like horses, as well as things later on like iron, oil, coal, they are used, generally speaking, to enable better unit types or different unit types. For example, there will be certain mounted units, like horsemen, that will require you to have horses to be able to build those units. If you don't have horses, then you can't build those units. Most units in the game, I think it's fair to say most units in the game, or at least probably half the units in the game, don't require any strategic resources whatsoever. We have another resource over here, stone, which is considered a bonus resource. Basically, bonus resources, as far as I know, don't really do anything special, right? They don't necessarily unlock a unit type like the horses, like strategic resources do, but they tend to just produce more. So this is a grassland hill with stone on it. You can see it produces 2 food, 2 production. So the stone means it's 1 better than a regular grassland hill. Not only that, but we will be able to build a quarry on this later on to get even more production, which is awesome. Over here we've got fish. This is another bonus resource, which makes the sea tile a little bit more productive. You can see we get food and gold from this tile, as opposed to this coast tile, which just produces 1 food and 1 gold. So the fish by itself produces 1 extra food, And later on, when we improve it with fishing boats, it'll produce even more stuff for us. But that's another bonus resource. The last type of resource is a luxury resource. Diamonds here are an example. I believe the fur over here will also be a luxury resource. The wheat here is just a bonus resource. Luxury resources do improve the tile, just like every other resource. But the bonus to this is luxury resources make your people happier. It produces something called amenities, which we're going to talk about soon. Okay, so we got a bit of a look at the map. We've got mountains over here. It's worth noting mountains. You can't walk through mountains, but there's actually some other really substantial bonuses. You can't work the mountains. You can't walk through them. In a way, they're sort of a dead tile. But what they do is they do really important things to the tiles next to them. And we'll see that relatively soon. And we've got a river here. The river by itself exists between tiles, so you don't work the river. You don't do anything with the river itself, but it has certain implications with your unit movement. Usually, when units cross a river, it will end their turn because it's a lot of work to cross a river. But it becomes particularly important for certain types of improvements and wonders and districts later on. Anyway, let's go ahead and create our first city over here. It should be noted, sometimes what you actually want to do is move your warrior first, because you don't have to create your city where your settler starts. Usually, it's fine, because the game tries to place the settler in a good spot. But sometimes you'd be like, maybe it would be a little bit better if we just moved a little bit over. Maybe, we would take advantage of more stuff. Can you tell what your city will get to take advantage of? Well, wherever you plant the city, you will eventually be able to work stuff up to 3 tiles away, or 3 hexes away. So if I settle here, and I can count 1, 2, 3, I'll eventually be able to work the furs. That's great. What about 1, 2, 3? Ooh, I'll get the fish. If I were to move here, then what would happen is I'd no longer be able, the city would never be able to work the fish. That might be okay if there happened to be another resource over here. So if our original configuration is a bit different and we had a warrior stay over here, we might be tempted to move the warrior to the right just to see if there was anything good over here and we might want to move. But in this case, I'm very happy with our location. So what I'm going to do is hit this button over here. So here we have our settler selected. I can change what unit I have selected by just clicking on their little icon. And down here, it'll show me what unit I've selected. And the settler has a special button here that says Found City. You can also hit, I believe, the B key on the keyboard to build the city. So we're going to go and found this, and this creates Washington. Depending on what nation you're playing as, you will get a different name for your capital, and certainly your cities will be, and your cities and your borders will be colored differently. But here we are America, we are blue. Our border here is dashed currently. And that's to indicate the fact that in the early game, these quote-unquote borders are not really borders. Enemy units will be able to walk through these borders and without being opposed. Later on in the game, in fact, quite early on in the game, you will sort of advance your diplomatic status, and these borders will become a solid line. And then your borders will be closed to other civilizations unless you explicitly open them. All right, so we've got Washington there.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Right corner of the screen, it's actually telling us to choose production. This button over here will always prompt you about what you need to do next. And actually, there's also a couple extra icons to show you what else will come up. Like we'll need to pick a technology, and one of our units will need orders. But let's go ahead and deal with this.
Is any of the tutorial making sense, Mark? Or
what it's actually going to do is going to select Washington for me and open up its production queue. I could do this manually as well. If I X out of this, and say I choose my warrior, I can click on the nameplate here for Washington, select the city. You can see here now I've got Washington selected. I get some information about this. We're going to find out what that is later. Actually, probably next here. And there's a button here that says Change City Production. That gets me to the exact same screen as before. It's generally very convenient to just use this button. It brings you to the next thing you're supposed to do. All right, now we have the option of building something in the city. We've got the first area over here is districts and buildings. Right now, the only option we have is the ability to build a monument within our city center. If you have played previous versions of Civ, once we start unlocking districts, things will feel very weird and odd. But basically, your city isn't just the central tile in Civilization 6 anymore. The central tile is your city center district, and you will be building other districts in other tiles later on. And all of your districts, including the city center, can have buildings built within it. So this monument is a building you can build in the city center. Note that you have a little advisor tag here that can recommend different units. It's probably okay if you use that to influence your decision when you're new to the game. But honestly, there's many times when I will disagree with this and pick something else. So don't think that this is really like the pro move, and if you picked something else like a warrior here, that would be a mistake. In fact, I would probably suggest building an early warrior or a slinger. We'll talk about that in a moment. So when you mouse over any of these things, it tells you what it does. The monument, for example, would take 60.
Or at least the things, or those things. Right, makes some more titanium.
Okay, next tutorial. Jesus Christ.
You're minimized for some reason.
Who, me?
Yeah. There you go. Now you're not. Okay.
Weird.
All right. Here.
You still there, Mark?
I see you now.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought you disappeared. Sorry.
That's all right. Working on it.
Really? Really? They took it literal? Nice. Okay, welcome to the launch pad. SCS, maneuver, target, anti-target. This looks nice and smooth. I'll turn down one just to get smoother out here. There's something wrong with my rocket.
I think I'm going to have to restart my computer, guys. I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries, bud. The game crashed, did it?
Yeah, and I can't get nothing to work, so I'll be back.
Matt, your volume's really loud.
My game's really loud, is it?